Hello, 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 and we are live. Welcome to the Dash Force Free Amigos podcast, episode 37. Today, we're joined by a very, very special guest. If you haven't guessed already by the title of the video, Chuck Superman Williams. How's it going, Chuck?
Hey, not too bad. How's everybody doing?
Excellent. Pretty good. And my two fellow Dash Force Amigos, Joel.
Yo.
And Brian, aka Mastermind.
I can still hear you guys. I'm not going to talk for a second.
What a guest.
Yeah.
What a guest.
Yes.
The man's such a legend.
He's as fleeting as Dash's $1,600 price.
Oh, man.
Oh, let's go straight into the misery. Straight in there.
I'm happy about it. I'm happy about the price being low because I've had so many friends. Like, how many people spoke about Dash to their friends and family over the Christmas period? So there's so many people who have been sitting on the fence that I personally know. So this only is going to increase distribution and allows more people to come into the market. Like, this is a good thing. Like, I'm happy because it means I can buy more Dash. Like, nothing bad has happened to Dash. Like, January's been a blockbuster month. Like, it's been crazy. And like, yeah, and a block cipher, blockbusting month. Every day we've had amazing news. So this is just the downfall from Bitcoin. It's a knock-on effect, all total market cap. So for us, we get to benefit by buying more Dash because we know long-term we're going like Dash for the win. The dashing in is a happening.
It's still painful.
Yeah, so as long as you have rent covered, and then you can just kind of cobble together enough like rice and then like mayonnaise on top of that or whatever to just survive, like you'll be fine, right? You just wait till it goes up, and then I don't know, it's fine. It's been entertaining because I kind of Dash is a very fundamentals focused coin, right? And fundamentals and use and stuff, and then there's just so much else to pay attention to, like almost the integration every single like few days, right? And just we're so focused on that. It's like, oh, look at this price here. Wow. It's just sort of like it's sort of like, just sitting in your tower and then seeing like the peasants' farmland burning below. And you're like, oh, wow, that sucks for some people. And you're up there in your tower, just wait for the fire to die down. But then there's other people who are down in there running around screaming like their hair on fire. Just screaming.
We've actually fared.
You paint quite a picture.
Master wordsmith.
No, we've actually fared pretty well. I mean, compared to other coins, if y'all look at the coin market cap, I mean, some of these coins are down, well over 20-30%. Oh man, yeah, there's some dumpster fires out there. It's brutal for some coins. Yeah, we're doing pretty good.
I don't think it's brutal enough though, to be honest, because there's still so many.
Really?
So many
you think more
that are hanging on. Yeah, because it's still back to, remember the Palm Beach report came out last year, and then it's like, oh, when it passed 500, well, like that's where we're at now. And so there's still just so much other stuff. Like there's still like, I hesitate to name.
Out there that needs to cut.
Yeah,
is that what
I mean? There's just a lot of things that people are only in for money purposes. Right.
Yes. Yeah. But that's, what? I don't think that's really going to shake out for a couple years. I think this is a precursor to a very much greater, more painful thing coming.
Hopefully more selectively painful. But that's the thing, is there's still shitcoin hodlers, right? There's still people that are holding on to something that has no value, just hoping it goes back up. That's true,
but the ocean's got to drain for those
to give up. I want them to just lose their spirits and just dump that.
They're not. There's always going to be those little, communities of like obvious shitcoin holders into perpetuity. Like this is just part of the society now. You're going to have to accept that. It's not all going to be clean and nicely well regulated and managed and like on the up and up.
Yeah, no. I just need there to be fewer of them. It's like one of those like most offensive things you could say is it's not that they're bad, it's just there's too many of them. Right. It's not that it's bad that some people have terrible projects that they're putting money in. It's just there's too many of them that are too high in the market cap rankings. And that's the thing, is whenever you think about this, right? Whenever you think of these contractions in the market, you think of sort of cleansing fire. Like this is something that's good for us because it shakes out the weak hands, lifts up the
if you
strong
know what's
hands.
going on, if you understand how markets work and have fundamental economic understanding, right?
Yeah, it redirects focus to why we're there in the first place. And the thing is, as far as I have been able to observe, that refocusing has not happened very much at all, or not nearly enough. It's like when you have the 18-month bear market after the 2013 Bitcoin spike,
right?
And it's like
I think I was looking
not
earlier,
a lot
and I was actually trying to count them. I think we've only had like 8 since then, 8 major bear downturns. I saw a tweet earlier today that just tracked only everything over 30%, and I think there's only about a dozen since the inception of Bitcoin.
I don't think it's a cycle thing, though. I don't think this is a cyclical thing where beforehand, in the first 5 to 6 years of Bitcoin, it was kind of like the gateway drug. You had to go through Bitcoin to something else. Then we kind of had the flipping in where Ethereum kind of got involved. But like, let's be real here. Let's be realistic. When the first times Chuck came onto this podcast, he said, you need to be a unit of account, a store of value, and a medium of exchange. I've always remembered that. This is about utility. If we're being real here, this isn't about Lamborghinis and all that sort of stuff. Bitcoin isn't functioning right now. I was with Caramel Block Cipher the other day, and all these businesses are dropping Bitcoin for Dash. Now, all these people over the Christmas period, like I was just talking about, if they just hear about Bitcoin, they go to an exchange, granddad goes to an exchange, buys 1 Bitcoin, takes it off to the wallet, loses loads in fees straight away. They can't spend it. So this is about money. And I don't know if you guys watched the Amanda B. Johnson video that was uploaded this week, where someone in the audience asked her what her opinion was of tokens. And I thought she gave a phenomenal answer. She basically summarized by saying, like, tokens are, quite niche because they're only suitable for one service, not in a gimmicky way, but they are kind of like a gift card for one platform. And just like miners, right, they want money. I want Dash. I want. Don't give me a token that I can use, a gift card I can spend one place. I want money. I don't want dinosaur paper money. I want Dash digital cash. And this is what I think people are realizing now. It's like tokens are only good for one thing. We want money now. We want utility. So people, be real. There's always going to be a tipping point somewhere. And so the price of Bitcoin was always going to come down. Now, whoever that contender is, whether it's the flipping of Ethereum or the dashing in with Dash, which we know slow and steady wins the race, this was always going to happen.
Yeah. I think most people who are in it kind of would agree with you, at least from my understanding. But I think there's so many people who work from a tribalist mindset, and they really know no other way to behave. There's people in this industry right now who have no other mentality other than some kind of tribe. They've always been part of some kind of tribe. And when they choose Bitcoin, if they are of that mindset and it rules their lives, then they will never walk away from Bitcoin. They will always support it.
That's the thing.
And they won't consider anything else.
I'm a big fan of the free market. And to a certain extent, the free market is like the kinder, general, or more gentle version, although not by much, right, of nature. Nature is brutal. And sometimes you see things like that, right? Sometimes you see things that make you a little bit uncomfortable, right, with nature. Like you see, like, oh, the poor little gazelle just got caught by the nasty predator and it just so young, never had a chance. Or, oh, this thing got snatched by that thing got taken with the forest fire. Oh, this, like, just bad things you see happening. And you have this like human sense of compassion for that. Like, oh, that's so bad about that. But the alternative is when they don't wash out, right? So for example, when you eliminate too many of the predators from an ecosystem, you think about crashes and stuff like that as predators, healthy predators, then you just got rabbits all over the place. And there's just so many rabbits that then they eat up all the grass and then they collectively starve to death after wrecking the ecosystem.
Yes. The ecosystem gets out of balance.
So sad.
But it still corrects in the way that you described, right? So they die off.
Fluffy little bunny traders just have to get wrecked sometimes. I mean, it sounds so like
well, yeah, if you built your business on top of you know, oh, if you're okay, like compared to momentum traders, right? That's your bunny trader, right? They see, oh crap, there's bunnies happening all over the place. I should get in on this bunny action, right? So they start contributing to the problem by breeding bunnies and corralling them and flavoring them for different people's tastes. You know, oh, I got a bunch of chocolate brownies, bunnies for this markup price, right? And they ride that wave for some period of time. And then they're not paying attention to the fundamentals of the market. And they don't see when all the carrots are gone and the celery's gone and the grass is really, really low. And like, you know, there's still this huge bunny population. Like, how is this happening? Like, they don't think about what their business is built on top of enough to see like second and third order consequences beyond buying and selling the current product that has momentum, right? So they get wrapped up in the momentum and then they just get lost because they're not paying attention to the outer consequences. And then they fail. And then when that mass die off happens, that's when they wash out. So it's like this deferred maintenance that could have been happening over time, which I think is what you're saying you would prefer to be seeing, but this shouldn't have been unexpected, right? And there may be more of it to come, right? You're saying it's not enough.
It just like, it's such a natural part of this ecosystem, right? So this natural part of nature, of everything, is the ups and the downs, the yin and the yang, the life and the death. And it's just so hard to like step out and lose perspective, because you are, in order to have perspective, you have to not be part of the ecosystem yourself. You're one of those players trying not to get wrecked. And so it's hard to just separate yourself from your role as a bunny, right? From just looking down on everything else, because that could be you. You see it has fur and little footsies just like you, and it just gets tackled by a cheetah or whatever, and you're just like, that could be me. You feel bad. And so perspective is kind of hard.
Does that make me Elmer Fudd?
Yeah, I go.
Are you
murdering traders?
What you meme cannon?
Yeah. But Chuck touched on something. Fundamentals. Why did we all get into this space originally? I don't know what's going on with Brian. I hope he comes back, because I think he will really resonate with this. Fundamentals. Like, we know, most of us here were into precious metals before because of central banking. You can't solve a debt problem by creating more debt. So that's why limited supply was so fundamental to us, and proof of work as well. We understood the concept of it, and wasn't just the payment system side of it. It was the revolutionary side of it. Okay, the financial freedom comes with it, and people forget this. So I don't know. I don't want to pick on millennials saying they're coming into it now thinking they're just going to get Lambos and everything else, and jumping into these tokens, completely overlooking coin supply. But like, remember why this started. Why was this blockchain technology created? What problems is it trying to fix? Why should you want to use it? And what are the benefits of using it? These are good questions.
Yeah, those are good questions. I think I'm listening to Ray Dalio's Principles. I don't know if you guys
hopefully not right now. Hopefully you're
not right this moment. No. But I am in the middle of it, towards the latter. Actually, no, I think I just completed it. And he talks about second and third order consequences. And this is one of the things that I think that's going on culturally is the majority of our population right now tends to think of basically what's in front of them. Like, if I do this, then this. Like that's the extent of the majority of our population's thinking. But there's consequences after that. The second order consequences and the third order consequences. And I really like the way that he talks about it, because it's given me a model to look at like what's going on in this crypto space, because most people, like you say, like I think we all agree, they're only focused on these first order consequences. Put money in, get money out, make money, dollar goes up, I make money, right? But they're not thinking about these second order consequences. What happens if everybody in the world does this? What happens if, we do have this global payment system? What happens with the banks? What happens with governments? What happens, like those are way further out than most people even care to consider. And then you get a minority of people who do consider those things. And this is what I think creates the chasm in conversations about cryptocurrency, because you got a bunch of people who only think about first order consequences and a minority that like prefers to talk about the second and third order big stuff about, and that informs their daily decisions in both cases.
Well, I would blame it all on the maximalists. No, but let me get into that throwaway point for a second, I've noticed a lot of second, third order consequence language being used incorrectly to justify bad first order consequences, right? It's a sort of appeal to greater principles that's a fake appeal to greater principles. For example, you can't increase the block size because decentralization. It's like it's appealing to something that's down the road or something incorrectly, in my view, right? And in the view of Dash, apparently, because of Dash's on-chain scaling plan, just appealing to that in order to just say, no, it doesn't matter if people are suffering today. It doesn't matter if fees are going all haywire. It doesn't matter any of that kind of stuff, right? It's so that's, I think this newer generation has kind of gotten, this newer generation of crypto traders has kind of gotten desensitized to that, to where they're like, yeah, sure, decentralization. Yeah, sure, you telling me to stay away from Ripple because, oh, it's a bankster scam. You're telling me to, whatever. I'm not going to listen to that. I'm going to go with the white paper and the hype and all this kind of stuff. And that's all that really matters, because you're trying to keep me from profits, right? With your old fuddy-duddy stuff, your excuses, right? It's not so much that what they're talking about isn't valid concepts. It's that I don't buy this. I don't buy that you're saying it with sincerity.
They forgot what sound money is. That's what the problem is.
Well, I think it's really about what they're valuing. I mean, to me, they're valuing, those first order consequences more than those second order consequences. You know what I'm saying?
Time preference, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's kind of we obviously all believe in free market economics, right? Because we know ultimately the best solution. We believe in utility, so we know we're going to come forward eventually, because we know we're going to win this. Because I just think we're in a really good position right now, because there's a healthy debate coming up with the Lightning Network. Bitcoin's having issues. People are looking into this. There are actually other solutions now coming to compete with Lightning Network. So we've got a prime golden opportunity here, where people are going to be looking at this, and we can perfectly display saying, look, we've got the winning solution here, and you don't have to wait for it. We've already done it. It's here.
Well, I like to put it in the couch of, like, this is a solution, and if it works, then yes, it's a winning solution, right? But that doesn't mean that there won't be other solutions that can also win. The Lightning Network could work. It's just as much of an experiment. We just happen to have this whole instant send thing that leverages this second tier network that we happen to already have, and in my mind, like, Bitcoin's catching up in a very kind of creative and different way. And it requires somebody to buy in. I think that's one of the major differences. Like, somebody's got to buy in. You can get into a Lightning Network with no Bitcoin, but somebody's got to buy in on your behalf to have some kind of a node set up so that you can get into the network and start exchanging, right? That's my understanding. I could be wrong, but that could work, right? Somebody could build some nice interfaces on top of that really make things work well, where you can exchange money very inexpensively, very quickly. And that's probably still at least, I don't know, I would guess 6 to 8 months on the aggressive side, full 2 years out. Based on
go back to the money, right? Because part of the beauty of losing those poor precious little bunnies is that it weeds out the weak, feeds the healthy predators in the ecosystem, and keeps the strong bunnies alive, right? That's the thing with free market competition. And so different solutions to different scaling problems, right? It's good to have them, because then the best rise to the top. Now, the challenge with the Lightning Network as a specific thing, of course, we can technically talk about that some other time, I'm sure, but I feel like it's a solution to a problem that never got its chance to bear its head, right? For example, I don't think Bitcoin was ever allowed to have true scaling problems, right? I think that, like, I would feel that Ethereum has scaling problems because it tried to scale. It just kind of actually ran out of space on the blockchain, right? Kind of just increasing the gas limit.
All the miners couldn't keep up at certain token sale events, and lots of that.
It hit real scaling problems. And then when you hit real scaling problems, you need real scaling solutions. Bitcoin just refused to scale. And I don't think that that's too controversial a thing to say, even because the whole thing was we can't raise the block size for non-scaling reasons. For other reasons, we cannot do that. That was the line. And so now Lightning Network has been this solution to this problem that never really happened, and this solution that was sold before it ever existed and still kind of doesn't exist. So
yeah, I like that. I like that perspective because I think it agrees with a lot of experiences that I've had developing software in the software industry. And it kind of goes like this, you know, technical teams without alignment to any business goals or strategic direction of organizations or user goals tend to find problems that need a technical solution, even outside of that. You know what I'm saying? So they will solve problems that are not related to solving problems for users, that are not in agreement with the strategic vision of the company, but probably solve some kind of highly technical issue. And this happens a lot in software development. I would, you know, and this comes because I think a couple of things. The way that I approach fighting against that is with empathy. I try to build development teams by saying, look, development team, these are the people for whom we are caring. If you are working on anything not for these people, then you're off mission. And that's kind of the approach. And we're doing that now at Dash, right? We've got a bunch of personas. We're distributing these personas among our team. We're starting to talk about and refine who our audiences are, what the prioritizations of work and features are, and those kinds of things, right? So we're looking at the groups of people that we are serving as a utility for money, and we're trying to focus on that, right? I haven't seen evidence that Bitcoin is doing this in any way, but I have seen evidence that other projects are doing this, but as I think Amanda B. Johnson would agree, in a very niche manner. Like each of these cryptocurrency projects is very niche. Ethereum is different because they want to be processing. They want to be utility for processing that's very much more global, very much more general in nature, which I think has legs. Like we need those kind of fundamental platforms. We also need one that is just focused on making money exchangeable, right? I think that's who we are in a lot of ways, making payments happen as quickly, as seamlessly, as universally as possible. And once you're a utility for money, you can do a lot of different things and service very many communities in specific ways, whoever's closest to your network, and branch out from there, however it works.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess what I'm saying is I agree with you. And I think this happens a lot in software where they just get focused on something that's not focused on what you're servicing, who you're servicing, who your audience is.
That's the thing, is there is no such thing as a wrong answer. Everything's an answer. Everything is approached with trade-offs. And the only time something like that is wrong is when a tool is developed that serves a purpose but is used for a purpose it's not good for, right? So for example, or what happens if you develop a solution that's serves a certain alignment but ends up being marketed to a different one. So for example, just not to beat the lightning horse, right? Not to ride the lightning too much here, but it seems like the Lightning Network's being developed as a way of keeping Bitcoin the same as it is, right? With the 1 meg, with everyone running their full node, et cetera, and it's a way of just keeping Bitcoin going while that's the real purpose. Whereas it's sort of been touted as a scaling solution, rather like this is what's going to get everyone to mass adoption, but that's not the number one goal, right? The number one goal is to have Bitcoin stay in these very narrow parameters, and then just kind of build something on top of those narrow parameters.
Yeah, very technical in nature. It's a technical solution. Yeah, I think we're in agreement to a problem that doesn't really quite exist. But they're trying to foresee, you know, and head off problems, and it may or may not be the right way to go.
Yeah, well, it's a way to go. It's the right way to go for the set of parameters that are informing its development, which I don't think those sets of parameters are publicly acknowledged quite as much. What do you think about that, Brian?
Well, yeah, Bitcoin doesn't have a whole lot of options without the master nodes, and they just don't. I mean, Mark said something about there was other options besides Lightning. What were you referring to?
There are two new competing ones. There's I actually saw him on Box Mining today. He discussed them. I think one begins with an M. It's called Maximum something. There's one called something like Hash Chain or Hash Chain Technology. So they haven't even been integrated yet. Don't get that confused with Hash technology. We're talking about Perry. That's something else. But these are new and they haven't been integrated yet. So these are discussions and ideas and solutions that people are putting up at the moment. So people even aren't even fully invested into the Lightning Network. Even the people in Bitcoin, if Lightning Network, still don't understand how it works, because the information and resources is not great at the moment. So I'm looking towards people, exchanges, services that are actually looking at Lightning Network to integrate it and seeing what problems they have. And Joel, who's that CEO of yours? He did a fantastic video on his service saying why he won't be integrating Lightning Network, and it's really great. I really recommend watching it. It's really breaks it down for you.
Yes, I did an interview with him, and then he did an updated sort of. Almost as the same interview, because he's wearing the same thing and the same backdrop. I'm not talking to him. He's just talking on his own about, because for yours, he designed one of the first payment channels for Bitcoin, and then he ported it over for Litecoin, and then he decided, nah, we're just going to use Bitcoin Cash and not scrap the payment channel. But they actually had to test the payment channel and get it working. And as part of that, their whole idea was so they could scale to micropayments, and they kind of figure out the limitations of it, and ended up finding out that Lightning Network as a whole is not like a substitute for normal transactions and on-chain scaling and stuff. But yeah, that goes back to the whole, we're saying about like knowledge and stuff, right? Do you even know how all this stuff works? Like, do you even know how, like, the limitations of each of these technologies? Like, how many people know that with Dash's privacy that you have to like mix beforehand, and then that depends on liquidity in the market at the time, that it depends on who else is mixing. Like, how many people out of the box just don't think they can push a button and then it works like that?
Yeah, I would say even a majority of people involved in the crypto space who are invested in a number of tokens, including myself, aren't aware of how each of the features and function of a particular cryptocurrency work. You know, I think we all understand just enough to make a personal decision that we're comfortable with, whether or not we're going to invest our time and or energy and or money into a thing, right? And that just enough can be mistaken, you know, and I think that happens a lot, especially with Dash, at least in my experience. But I think more and more people are recognizing that they may have misunderstood Dash. I'm starting to see that, oh, you know, I didn't know this. I didn't realize this. I didn't see this. I didn't understand that. I didn't, you know, like, people are second guessing themselves now, I think, about their original assumptions with Dash. So I'm starting to see that play out in the marketplace.
It's gone the opposite way with especially a lot of privacy coins, that people don't understand how they work, right? Like, how many people who are a fan or holder of Zcash, right, know that you have to turn on the privacy, right? We just, like, a super simple, like, that's like 101. Like, how far have they gotten into it where they it's just super dark stuff, brah. Like, how many of them have gotten into that? Do they know they have to do that? And how many of them actually know how to, right? Like, work the command line wall and the full node thing and all that stuff. Like, how many? Probably none. Probably very few. And then how many people on the same side with Monero, they go, it's always on, it's always private. And it's like, how many know how that works? How many know about full node, like running their full node wallet? How many know about, you know, doing remote nodes and stuff like that? How many know about?
And I think it's a minority, even among Monero investors and major trollers and supporters. Like, I still think that's a minority.
Yeah, that just know how it works. And like, how many people with Dash know that what instant send is, or that what wallets have it, and that what is necessary to enable receiving instant send transactions, not just sending it, but like where can you recognize it? Because I mean, I had a friend of mine who was working on a point of sale system that accepted a few different types of cryptocurrencies, and Dash was one of them. As soon as the transaction got broadcast, it would say paid, except then I did an instant send, it just broke it. So I instant sent to like the QR code, it just like didn't register. It's like, that's weird. Like, regular ones would work, but instant send wouldn't. And so you had to go in and like figure it out and fix it. But like, people don't know these kinds of things. They don't know that it's a special thing. It's not like it's not just instant. It's not magic. There's no such thing as magic in tech.
Well, when we updated the copay wallet, there's a data structure change. Like our initial transactions, we were able to switch over the interface very quickly to use the Dash network, but we had to update the front end because there were a lot of data changes involved with the structure of the transaction itself, right? And it wasn't large. It was more additions. Just we have more data on the transaction, slightly more data, and it's small in nature, but it's enough to, like, if you're expecting a Bitcoin transaction, to break it. Like it can cause issues. So yeah, I can totally see why that would have happened, and he probably ran into the same issue with the instant send flag being there. It's an unexpected attribute, and it only appears when you actually turn it on, as far as I understand.
Yeah, Brian.
What is the yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, why we've got Chuck here. I think you wanted to ask him about the roadmap, didn't you? Like, well, we should let's make the most of this.
Yeah, I was going to start with the copay wallet, about what the status of that is and when is it coming out of beta.
Yeah, so I just this week finished setting up the test flight on the Apple Store, and submitted it for review. I haven't heard back from them yet, but basically that's the second part of the beta. So we launched the beta very much more quickly on the Google Play Store because they have their standards are a little bit lower. Like, they'll allow a beta in their store. So I was able to control that, set it up, push it out very quickly. With Apple, you have to go through their review process, even for a beta, and they won't allow beta and test applications into the Apple Store itself. You have to go through the test flight programs, which means collecting emails. So I had it out for a while. Hey, send me your email address if you want to be on the iOS platform. I had a list of the alpha testers. I think I ended up with about 60 emails. And those should be going out as soon as Apple approves it. So that should be coming very soon. For the Apple beta.
How much time are you allocating to this? Because, like, as much as I love the copay wallet, like, you're my evolution boy. Like, come on, Chuck.
So yeah, no, hey,
come on, man.
Well, you want me to finish the copay update, or you want me to go into that?
I kind of feel a bit spoiled.
That does sound like a cool, like, DJ name, Evo Boy with BOR.
Well, it's either that or Superman.
We'll figure it now. Superman's for my brother, my younger brother, Sean.
Well, I've taken Lex Luthor, so, you know, and your sister's Wonder Woman, so it's got to be someone from DC.
I haven't chosen a superhero yet. I like Iron Man. Bit narcissistic for my taste, but I really like him for that reason. As I was explaining earlier off camera, I like assholes. I don't know if everybody got that.
Yeah, you do have a little Tony Stark vibe to you, a little bit more than like a
yeah.
At least you have that Robert Downey Jr., like, you know, just if he shaved his head kind of thing. It's like close enough.
Yeah. Maybe. Anyway, back on the copay. Let me finish that out. So test flight, we're going to finish up the beta. I'm hoping between now and early mid-February. What we're doing is, I don't know one thing that I don't think a lot of people were aware of is this was a Masternode funded project back in April or May of last year. And basically when that happened, I was kind of put on that. And I've been allocated to that project to varying degrees between 10 and 100%. As of, like, let's say early December, that ramped up to 100% to get copay out the door and into production as quickly as possible. So, but I'm still touching base with the Evo front end team. I've still been conducting interviews. We've been building the front end team, and everybody new who's coming on is 100% allocated to the Evo project. So, you know, in my absence, we're still hiring and bringing people on and building a good team. We've got a really solid UX designer by the name of Suba, who has both crypto and UX design experience. Joshua's been cranking out on prototypes, working with Andy. We got a new guy, Mark, who's a Yahoo guy, helping us on the front end. And let's see. We've got
Alex has got a couple of new guys, right? Yeah, Alex has got a couple new people working for him, right?
Werner? Or
yeah, I believe that. Yeah, a couple.
Very imperative when you're talking about the Dash core team. You specify which Alex, because that's probably a quarter of the core team is named Alex.
Yeah, I miss Alex. So, yeah, I feel a bit embarrassed to ask this, but, like, I'm never going to live this down. It's going to get really awkward. But if I don't ask this, I don't think the community's ever going to forgive me.
Did you remember the ring?
It's pretty close to that. I heard that apparently Chuck has a really big D.
Oh man, I can't believe this got out.
Let's see it. Show it. Show it to us.
I have a giant D. Do you want to see it?
I want to see. Show me the D.
Oh, that's a really big one.
Oh, spin around. It's upside down. I'm getting triggered. Oh, there we go. Yay. That is a really big D.
It is.
Yeah. I haven't decided what to do with it yet. I'm going to put it up somewhere.
Wow. So, on a serious note regarding that funny note, what is that? Is it a pillow? Is it a blanket? Is it a...
It's actually a sticker. I got it at stickermule.com. It's a 2-foot wall sticker, vinyl. So I think I'm going to put it on some foam boards so I can maybe hang it behind me from the ceiling or something as a backdrop. I don't know. I'm trying to brand everything.
I'm loving the comment section right now. What a beautiful D. Wow. It's like, put the D away. You know, like, this is gold.
Yes. It was worth whipping it out.
Just got demonetized.
Yeah.
Wait, were you putting ads on this video at all?
No. Why? No.
Couldn't.
No. Well, we could try.
We could put this on DTube, which segues in. It works pretty well with what the subject matter at hand.
Absolutely. Hey,
I
Chuck,
heard about DTube. Yeah.
Well, we're talking about Ds, and we just mentioned Facebook. Well, ads. Obviously, Facebook cryptocurrency ads have been banned, but logo updates. I know Fernando gave a tweet update about Facebook because everyone was asking like,
linked to a new proposal that I think recently passed. I don't know if it's new or something else, but he's got a video where he goes into basically an update that is basically everything that I've known up to date. And I think they're going to extend that. Obviously he's moving into the CMO role. So he's basically taking on ownership of that area in terms of creating a strategic branding vision for Dash. I remember seeing, those for the audience, I think it may be valuable to know, like there was an after party where I shared some logo stuff privately with some team members that was kind of happening. And, it looks like those ones that were selected by the team were did not test well. So there was some testing that went out, some statistical tests, I think in 5 countries. And a different one that I did not share with you guys actually came up as the #1 selection under a number of different criteria, trustworthiness, technical prowess, and a few other areas. But they all tested, that logo tested very well. And I think they're going to do a little bit of work with that one to, and I should also note that the core team really liked that one. But, I think we were kind of talked out of it because it didn't seem unique or different enough. Or, there may have been other reasons, but it sounds like we're going back with that one and maybe do some iterations on that. And then we'll probably come with some colors and such. And that'll be happening over the coming months. I don't know the timeline, but obviously Fernando's owning that.
Yeah. Speaking of timelines, the roadmap, everything we hear is that everything is still on time. Evo's still on, everything's on time, but the roadmap hasn't been updated.
There's when they're going to update coming. Yeah. Okay. That's, there's a number of discussions that are happening in core team about how exactly the roadmap should be updated. And, one of the things that we want to do is go to milestone targets, because dates have proven to be challenging for a number of reasons, not only because the date itself may be, wrong, but the prioritization of work often is discovered in a way where some things that may have fallen after a date need to be pulled up, and things that we're currently working on need to be pushed out in order to meet what is a real target, which is a goal of what evolution needs to do in order to satisfy the features and functionality. So I think if I want to move to milestones on the roadmap, that update will be coming. I don't know what the timeline is for that, but it should be soon. I'm not sure who's exactly authoring it, but it's going to be more than just Evan and Andy, with some plugs as it was last time. So we've got a different team now. We've got different areas of responsibility. We've got people owning different things, and preferences have shifted. People have dropped off. There's been turnover. People have come on. There's new people ramping up. So we have to accommodate all this, and I think we're trying to structure and organize around that better. And the roadmap is like probably one of the most unifying artifacts that we produce as the core team. So we want to make sure if we do it again that it comes out right. That's my current understanding.
How's the core sentiment right now? Is everyone happy? Like, I don't know. I kind of feel since the Christmas period, I could tell, not time constraint wise, but I could tell core teams really been knuckling down and working hard.
Yeah, that's resulted in some amount of burnout. I think at this stage of the game, there's people who continue to be consistently working, but I don't think that everybody has the capacity to manage their lives around all the crypto events that are going on, and their personal lives, and working remotely, and keeping up with everything that's going on. I think some people don't know how to say no to certain things well enough that they can manage their own workload, because the workload here will get as big as you say yes to, which may be very, very much larger than your capacity. So I think some people are kind of burning out, and that's part of the shifts that we're, the team-oriented shifts that we're trying to implement.
Have they announced if they're going to reschedule the quarterly call? Did I miss that?
I thought that was going to happen. I thought they were going to reschedule it by Friday, by today, but I haven't seen anything yet. Yeah, that was kind of a shit show, wasn't it? I don't know if you guys were on it. Yeah.
I've never liked that software.
It is one of those situations where I don't like the prospect of, a tech company releasing a end of Q4 call halfway through Q1 of the next year, and it just doesn't work for technical reasons. I'd rather have that not repeated. Obviously, I understand when I get in the woods, but when you zoom out, it's just like, and we get outside the Dash family, and you see other people.
Well, yeah, I'm willing to bet that it was one of the highest attended quarterly calls ever, and maybe the system wasn't prepared for that. I don't know. I don't know how the contracts with WebEx work, which was the software that we were using, but it didn't handle the bandwidth.
Yeah, I've never been impressed with it. Yeah, I never liked it. It's always seemed to have some problem or the other. Now, some of that may be on the person's end who has bad internet, but it always seems to have some kind of issues with that. Yeah, I think they're going to try this Google Live. I think that's the easiest solution, and it just works.
Yeah, it's funny because Dash is supposed to be a technology powering payments, and cryptocurrency is supposed to be a decentralized monetary technology, and then some other things. But it's become a little bit more, very media driven, right? Like you had Charlie Leany's 600,000 plus followers on Twitter, and then people doing all these like live things and these flashy presentations, like a lot of media tech. And hey, guys, like that's like Facebook Lives all over the place. Hey guys, I'm here. They go out to go to tech conference, and like
then
we're
not really doing that.
I mean the four of us right here doing the closest thing we get to that in Dash,
Chuck's sort of sending me pictures of his D, and it's pretty crazy to be honest. It's taking over.
I would want to poll the top people in crypto and see how many of them have a Snapchat. By show of hands, who here has a Snapchat?
I wouldn't touch that. It's tacky, man. I don't roll with that.
Younger kids, younger people. That WebEx or whatever, it has a lot of features. It just, I don't know, it just never seems to work smoothly. But it does have a lot of features. Like, I don't know if you can do screen, because Ryan always does the slides and stuff. Is that possible with this, Mark, on the Google?
Yeah, you just share your screen.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
True.
Yeah, straightforward. I
Well,
mean,
we
like
use
platform
Google
stuff.
Hangouts for our meetings and stuff, and it works out pretty well. Like our internal meetings.
Yeah.
And
But
that
that's
seems to work pretty well.
centralized. The man could be
Oh, I know.
listening to all your secrets. That's
Yeah, I
scary,
know.
right? So this is the
Yeah.
thing. Like Joel was just talking about decentralization, especially in technology. And normally, when I hear the name government, the man, I get a bit, normally I'm a bit resistant, right?
You're resisting arrest.
But with my interview I did with Karen from BlockCypher this week, I just think it's a really telling moment because BlockCypher's new partnership with NREL, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, the part of the US Department of Energy, utilizing blockchain technology to decentralize payments on the network for energy payments. And they're just so, I mean, it's meant to be agnostic, right, at the moment, but they're using the Dash blockchain at the moment.
Yeah.
That tells you everything that you need to know. Even government can't deny. And they're not going to invest their time, money, energy, efforts in something willy-nilly. This is as big as it gets. This is just going to keep scaling from power grids to electric cars to everything else. This is so huge. And even the big players, and now like we've seen with the banks, Davos last week, cryptocurrency is on everyone's mind. And it's kind of like, Joel, what's that? It's not join or die, like the classic snake thing, like join or die. That is literally what it is. It's just like you either become redundant and obsolete or you adapt. And that's the stage that we're at now. And it's exciting.
So I have a counterpoint to that. And it goes like this. In the medical industry here in America, most doctors and doctors' offices still use faxes to transmit documents and information among one another. And they are in no shape or position, and nobody is giving them any solution to upgrade to get onto a digitized network, even just using email, because there's privacy and HIPAA laws and issues around that, and managing those effectively and making sure that that doesn't get out or distributed. With a fax unit, it's an isolated control unit, and that's where I think part of it breaks down. And it's a combination of two things: the regulatory and the market itself. Like the market has no interest in upgrading these doctors because it's expensive and there's no payoff for anybody involved. And so that you have this whole like vertical, this industry that's kind of stuck in this old school technology, right? While the rest of the world's kind of moved ahead, the rest of business is moving ahead on email.
Can I counter that?
Sure.
This is why you need to get with Dash Digital Cash. Do the math, Joel. Here's the thing. BlockCypher, once again, right? Because Patientory, my friend, in America as well. You can buy your prescription with Dash, once again, using the Dash blockchain. BlockCypher, I love you.
How do you fax Dash, though?
Well, this is the thing.
Well,
this is why you guys need to come here, because we've got the National Health Service. So, like,
believe me, I was supposed to register with the National Health Service in my first day in the UK, and I kind of like forgot about it, like never did it. And thankfully, I didn't get too sick during my time there. But that was funny. But that's the thing, though, is in a completely free market, efficiency pulls ahead. And if your competitors are getting an advantage because they're not messing around with faxes anymore, you're going to overhaul that stuff really fast. But the thing is, the medical industry is extremely regulated, and there's all kinds of hurdles, all kinds of everything. I mean, think about it. Like growing up, when I got to get my driver's license in Mexico, growing up, to go into the government office to get it printed out, and then everyone was using typewriters there, right? Just that's where they're at, because what are they going to compete? Well, who's going to yell at the government office and be like, I'm going to use the other guy for my driver's license if you don't overhaul your typewriter thing? It's like, nah.
Well, I think that's part of the future that I see. A couple decades out, organizations like Dash will be replacing organizations like the DMV and basic government service, parks and recreation, roads.
Dash, the D and the
build the roads.
Dash can afford this.
Yes. I could just imagine Evan showing up in a random Reddit thread about like the highway fund or something like that, or or just like arguing over a gas tax to fund the maintenance of some new highway or something like that. Just being like, Dash can afford this, and just bouncing for another few months.
Think about it. What if a city took out a bond to purchase 10 masternodes, right? Now they've got this continuing income stream with a major investment that's presumably going to pay off into perpetuity, and they can use those funds for civil services and actions, and they could continue to use the blockchain earnings to pay out people, and you could have proof of pothole filled coins.
It'll happen. Yeah, it'll happen. Probably not in America first, but it'll happen in Venezuela or somewhere like that.
Yeah, just go back to medical stuff. I can foresee a future where things are becoming more automated. AI is a hot buzzword right now. But a lot of people, especially over here in the UK, if you have private health, you're doing these DNA tests now because that you don't get more raw data than that. So I foresee a future where you actually go to a doctor and it's actually a robot and they actually have your DNA test on there. So when you have an illness and you need a prescription, they can pinpoint what antibiotics work for your genetic DNA makeup. This is the future and what it's going to be. And what blockchain are they going to use for that? Dash digital cash, baby. That's what they're going to do.
Maybe for the financial transfer aspect of it, but that'll be a niche market, right? That'll be a niche market that, the DNA coin. What if you were wearing something like a Fitbit that transmitted information to, a blockchain anonymously, and then they use that human data to detect illnesses on an early basis? This isn't my idea. This is something I picked up from a video that I watched not too long ago. But those kinds of things are going to happen. If the ideas are out there and they're sound and they're solid and people find value in them, they're going to happen. But Dash is also going to be a niche. And I think right now the only thing that I can see is as a utility for money and payments. Like, we'll just be money and payments, and we should just be focusing on making that as simple, clear, and implementable as possible. And I think the implementation part is kind of where we're headed right now.
Yeah, and
that's about the DAppy now.
That's one thing you've noticed with all these different coins is it used to be a million knockoffs, and then now the space seems to be a lot of very focused projects. Right? You got Ethereum trying to be the big smart contract platform. You got the privacy coins that want to be transact value with increased privacy. That's all they want to do, right? And you got Litecoin, all it wants to do is be a test net for Bitcoin or help Bitcoin. It's just it doesn't even have its own purpose, has like a sub purpose to another coin. And back in the early days of rampant maximalism, people used to say, oh, these coins are just like testing out features that Bitcoin will implement on its own chain. And that hasn't really happened. And so you should definitely specialize in order to get the best at what you're doing. And that's the thing that I think people are starting to forget about Dash is Dash's specialization is one of the most general specializations you can be. Everyone needs to buy stuff all the time, right? Yeah. Everyone needs money. This is how trade is humanity, basically.
It is. That's why I'm so excited about Dash, because it's trade. That's the thing.
What you do with your time on Earth translates to money, basically. Basically, the scarce human resource is money, which then you send around with Dash. So it's almost like oxygen coin.
That's the other.
It's like this is going to be big.
So there's the Bitcoin tipping point, but then there's also the dinosaur money tipping point. Because at the moment, when we all go to CoinMarketCap, we're valuing our cryptocurrency in dinosaur fiat money. So the tipping point for that is that when people don't care about the valuation of that anymore. And the only way we're going to get there and achieve that is by utilities and services accepting Dash and other cryptocurrencies. Because once that does become money, and then I can spend my Dash everywhere else, then it kind of becomes irrelevant. So that's the other tipping point. So as we always say, Bitcoin's not our rival. PayPal, Venmo, Visa, MasterCard, we're not here to take part. We're here to take over, right? So that's the mission. Like,
more importantly, dibs on the band name Dinosaur Money Tipping Point.
Yeah, we should do an article on that.
I like that.
Yeah, because that's true. People think about people are so preconditioned already in the crypto sphere about the flipping in, and with Ethereum, obviously, I'm a big fan of the dashing in, because this is it now. Like, we know Bitcoin, and especially if the Lightning Network doesn't work, it doesn't function right now. So can you really be surprised if the price goes down or people move into Ethereum or something else? People want money. You know, this isn't fairyland. You can't just put money into something. Like, why are you putting money into this? Do you actually know the problem that it solves? What's the future roadmap? Where are you going with this? Like, if you're going to go out and you're going to preach the gospel of whatever football team, tribal, cryptocurrency you're in, it's not about that. It's about the solution that it provides. That's why I always say,
again, this brings us
it's
back
the technology, right?
You may be
correct. It's
but
valuable.
That doesn't happen until you get to second and third order consequences. Like, that's future goal type stuff. You get a lot of marketing people pumping different things for, like, it does this, it's Lightning Network is gonna do this, and that's all this hype that isn't really grounded in reality. So many people buy that hype. So many people just eat it up and say,
dude,
okay, I got these 4 bullet points that I can adopt from this guy who seems really excited about it, and I'm going to go with it, you know?
Yeah, but you must be excited about NREL. Come on. Like Karen was saying, like, you know, we're in that transition phase right now. This isn't just about America. This is about scaling everywhere. Like, in that,
NREL is grounded in reality.
In that next 5 to 10 years, right, we're going to see more people transition to electrical vehicles. So she's talking about smart meters in homes. So you obviously got the Tesla smart home meter, all this stuff. Now you're talking about decentralized payments going off for everything. Like, this is this is going to happen. Like, it is. This is so big, and it's just that's just a tiny part of what's going on here.
The Alt36, the point of sale solution. When I read through that the other day, they hit everything that the business owners that I've been talking to are asking for. You know, they need that fiat currency exchange. They need multiple crypto. They need the tax stuff. Oh my God, they're going to love that. If they do any amount of tax, and they're doing it on a per transaction basis, calculating taxes and automatically fill out the right forms at the end of the year. Oh my God. Like, that alone is going to sell so many. And I know that's just going to and that's why I tweeted out, once we land the cannabis market and solve their problems and demonstrate that this whole industry doesn't need a bank anymore, y'all, and everybody else is going to be like, oh yeah, we can do this. Let's you're going to get a Chick-fil-A, you're going to get Hardee's, you're going to get all these restaurants, retail operations.
This is why we're so happy right now. Like, everyone's frowning about the price. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, when I last looked, the market cap of Dash was like 3.8. Alt36 are going into a legal cannabis industry that Forbes magazine predicts is going to be a 31.4 billion market.
And like, dude, this is further backed up by the Medical Genomics Project. Did you guys see the Medical Genomics thing going on? So we just had this month the first new strain of cannabis hashed to the Dash blockchain, and they had a proposal approved last month to basically convert everything that was being hashed to the Bitcoin blockchain to the Dash blockchain, and they're going to have a whole market of genomically identifiable strains of cannabis that a whole marketplace of people are going to be able to look up. They are organizing and giving Dash a lead position in the CannaMed 2018 conference.
Is this going to be the new Wikipedia where people are storing data and information on strains of cannabis? Dash Drive. Oh my God!
So you'll be able to have a market
documentary. In fact, you should call it the Strain Chain.
Well, and growers are going to be able to use this whole resource of genomically identified strains to choose which they want to breed for differentiation of different kinds of things. And it's this whole map of the genomic structure. It's beautiful.
It's already pretty complex. Yeah, there was like just the golden cracker, I think, is the one that we added, was our first one.
I don't like that name.
Yeah, it's kind of a strange name. I don't know I know where the gold comes from, or the golden, not the sugar, but the cracker. But yeah, there was like a list of like the 15 different strains in that ancestry. So it's already pretty complex. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
So that's going to legitimize the whole like market, because they'll be able to tie that into the POS system and say, oh, this is strain beep RFID or scan. This came from this. Here's the provenance. This is the farm it came from. All this stuff. Like, it's going to be so easy to implement that. And the grocery store is going to eat it up.
This is one of those things.
Let's just finish with just the NREL thing. From what I could tell, it's going to come into play more and more whenever you're trading energy back and forth between houses, like in a community. So when everybody has these like Tesla solar panel roofs, it'll make it easier to sell it back and forth and get the cheapest price. And
right.
Yeah.
You know, and that incentivizes all kinds of organizations. Imagine an HOA buying in to get solar on everybody's roof, right? Now they have a whole community, you know, basically making Dash off of their investment, right? You could have an HOA investment like that. Like, that would be a beautiful thing.
And it's all decentralized. That's the thing that really gets me going. It's like the government is backing research, investment, and development into decentralized technology that is essentially is out of their control. So as Karen breaks it down in the video interview I did of her, like as Brian was saying, if we're next door neighbors and we're off the grid essentially, but connected, but he's got solar panels and I need electric, and I can get it from his smart meter next door where he's been generating it, then I can do that transaction with him automatically and pay for it in Dash. All decentralized, right? So it's actually saving. This is a whole ecosystem, because obviously the population is just going to keep growing. But I mean, like, this is just like small potatoes. Like the project is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And look, it's like people say follow the smart money, right? Now, I don't always say follow what the government does, because that's normally the thing that you should not do. But I think now most governments around the world, we're seeing governments around the world starting their own currencies in cryptocurrency right now, in Venezuela and stuff. Some countries now are starting to embrace this, even into their educational systems, because they know there's a technology race going on, because they know it's inevitable. So they want their youth of today to be experts in the blockchain, because they want to have that competitive advantage. They want businesses and all the smart people to come to their country, because they know this is where it's going. We're not living in a bordered world anymore. This isn't the 80s. Like
there
when
are
the internet
forces against that, though.
When the internet opened things up, it was different. Like as Joel was talking about typewriters, we're in a borderless world now, where business is done around the world. So we need a borderless digital currency for that. And yeah, there'll be people kicking up a fight, but that's where the free market comes in. And I hope we will prevail, and there will be fighting. And this is why you need governance and funding. And this is why I'm backing Dash, because we have that. We have the right team for it. Like people, if you're watching this, either you're into Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, whatever ones, look at their team. Do you honestly think you're going to take on Visa and MasterCard? They're going to come up with you. They're going to come up with you with everything. They're going to take you to town. The government's going to come. They're going to take things. Yeah. That's why you need legal teams in the squad. You look at the Dash team now, and just not just the dev team, marketing, legal, accounting, everything else. We can scale. We can do that. We have that structure. We have that base, that foundation. We're ready for this, and we're decentralized as well. What other crypto in the top 10 can do that? What has the governance and the funding? I tell you, it's the shape of a frisbee. It's zero. That's why you want to be with Dash.
Ethereum's working. Yeah, Ethereum's working on that stuff. There's different tokens that do different things, like the identity. There's governance tokens, but yeah, we have it all kind of in one nice, clean package.
Cheerleading award goes to Mark.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like Pump Train. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing he didn't say at the end was think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it. They just capped it all off.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things that I don't think you need to be like have insider info or be such a visionary or whatever to really grasp how huge Dash is going to be. And it's one of those things of orders of magnitude. You start look, there's a lot of cool projects in space, right? You can't diss that, but I don't think the average crypto trader, or most of them, not even the average, but like 95+% of them have looked into Dash correctly. Like, I don't think they just see, okay, wow, this is first off a thriving, decentralized, autonomous organization. This is like next level stuff that's going to change the world, and Dash is living it right now, right? People don't understand. Like, I mean, some people bought the DAO hype with Ethereum, but it's like then they kind of hear the dashes and they're like, oh, okay, like it goes over the head.
Yeah, the information's not all out there. That we need more clear information about what we're doing. It's hard. It's not all in one space, in one place. Like this identity stuff, and there's lots of stuff that we all know about because we study it every single day. But yeah, we need a video or something, a new video or something to.
Yeah, well, I'll have to start getting on all that stuff. I try to just write as much as I can down and put it out there. But like even without just surface level stuff of, well, what's the difference between all these payment coins? Like, why is Dash DAO? Well, instant okay, well, there, Bitcoin Cash doesn't have that. Litecoin doesn't have that. Bitcoin has like instant failure or whatever. It's like that's already one thing. Oh, and it has privacy too. Oh, weren't there privacy coins? Okay, well, the Dashes must be inferior, right? Oh, wait, never been broken? Okay, well, this is like, wow, it's like a privacy coin and a payment coin does that. But what about mass scaling? I hear Bitcoin Cash is going to do big blocks. Well, so is Dash. How is Dash better? Oh, wait, they got incentivized? No? Okay, wow, this is like something else. So there are all these talk. What about partnerships? Oh, Dash is partnering with all these big organizations. Well, they keep talking about this Alt36 thing. Like, Bitcoin Cash is getting BitPay, right? They're getting on BitPay. Well, wasn't that the same? Why are they excited about this and not start looking in? Oh, this is going to be big.
All these questions, like you could make whole talks, like whole presentations out of each one of these.
You could make raps out of this. I like big blocks, but I can't deny. But I also like big D's too. Like
all that stuff. But there's so much. But the thing is, like, we're in this space, right? Like, I think you touched on something there that I think is really valuable. Like, we are in this space and we can barely keep up. Yeah. How can we expect anybody outside of this space to even like get the first thing about anything? Like, not to diminish the intelligence of the population as a whole, but just like if you're not engaged with it, like I have trouble keeping up. I have probably 60% of information of what's happening on Dash alone, let alone anything else. So
we should start seeing the rise of the alts here in 2018 after Bitcoin's done its big pump and now the big dump. Normally people kind of start looking and exploring now into the alts, and the alts tend to rise. So I'm expecting that in 2018.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I see
deeper research.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting. Did you guys see the Dash 101 series that came out? The latest one? Did you watch any of that?
I kind of goofy music.
I think it was produced by Aaron Koenig. Interesting, like touch point. Aaron Koenig's book, The Beginner's Guide to Bitcoin and Austrian Economics, was the first thing I ever purchased with Bitcoin.
He's to blame, is he? Right, okay. He's going down on the list. Right. He's on the naughty list. He's off. He's not getting a Christmas card this year.
What's going on in Venezuela? Opened my eyes, gave a good global perspective of what Bitcoin was about. Helped me understand quite a bit about Austrian economics. Shaped some of my current beliefs. Helped me buy myself on Dash.
Mm-hmm.
When was this, Chuck? What year was this?
2015.
That was a good year.
It was a good year.
Yeah, I am a newbie. I haven't been. I mean, I looked at it in 2010, but I didn't give it any attention back then. I was too busy being a dad and being depressed.
Wow. Okay, let me take it out.
We need to.
Well, get out of that corner.
Let's type this up.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, so Ben Swan has been a big thing, right? And I personally worked hard to try to get that going on.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yes, no worries. I was approached by some of those people. So Ben Swan, investigative journalist extraordinaire, who was too real, too cool for school, and had to go off air because he lost funding. The full extent of everything will kind of come out probably on Tuesday, in fact. And he's exclusively sponsored by Dash right now. And his first video he put out when he's back just says, hey, I've been away for a year, this and that. And he basically talks all about Dash. First off, he understands it very well. He talks about how it works as like a payment system. He talks about how the decentralized autonomous organization, like anyone who's talking about Dash and explains what a DAO is, it's already more than a lot of Dash holders, right? It's already pretty good. And the video on Facebook has currently gotten 334,000 views as of right now. It's just basically a Dash ad. And it's like, wow, that's already a good, powerful thing. And some people are like, oh, he just a shill. He just got bought by Dash, whatever. And it's like, no, for one thing, even if he was a straight up shill, by being able to be a Dash shill speaks for Dash. That here's this alternative funding model that allows him to keep doing his thing. Like, just by telling the story of how he got funded by Dash is an objective truth. And no matter how much of a shill, just in it for the money you are, it already sells itself. It's already sincere, right? And then Ben's been in the crypto scene for a while, like since 2013 or whatever. He spoke at the Texas Bitcoin conference. Like he's a veteran of the space. So it's not like, so he knows, he's paid people with Bitcoin before. He's taken it as payments. He's done all this stuff over the years. And now he's into Dash. Like, he understands it. It isn't just like, oh, someone told me this is where the money's at. Like, no, he's a sincere person. And we're starting to see the implications of this censorship resistance, right? There's a lot of people in the crypto universe who, I've noticed this by this is just an observation. I'm not making a statement of fact. It's just what it looks like to me from what I've seen. I've seen a lot of crypto fans who liked Dash or kind of knew about Dash, and then they hear about Ben Swan and they know who he is and they loved it. They just like get more excited about Dash than they were, right? They get turned on to Dash. Like, wow, this is like, I already had some, I'm going to buy more. I've heard a lot of that, by the way. Or there's some people that are like, I kind of knew about it, but now I really want it. Or just Dash fans are like, yeah, I can't believe Dash did this. People that weren't really into Dash kind of don't get it. They like really don't get like, wow, this is a big guy. Like, they just hate on it more. It's kind of weird how that didn't turn them. But what it has done is there's a bunch of his fans or fans of his work, or even just some parts of his work, right? It's like there's a bunch of conspiracy theorist type people. There's a bunch of more like alt-right type people, a bunch of people who are definitely not aligned with 90% of the stuff that he's put out, but who like one or two segments might have meant the world to, are now sincerely getting interested in Dash. And they're just like, wow, I love Dash if Dash has got Ben to come back. And then like, where can I find more about it? And it's, sometimes you have to start with the implications. I think a lot of people came into the cryptocurrency world for some reasons that are already filled, right? They already have their opinions formed on crypto and the different coins. Sometimes you have to bring people in with the use case and then teach them about the coin.
Yeah, it's the haters that I love. I often think in memes, but like, I think I need to make this meme where like, you know, it starts off with the really big haters like Max Kaiser, Dash. They're like, oh, shill, I hate Dash. The marketing, shill. Then you got the Rory McDonald, and then they're kind of like, Rory McDonald, shill's marketing. And then they got Ben Swan. They're kind of like, oh my God, they got Ben Swan. You know, they're just gradually changing over time. Just like, oh my God, like how you can't stop hating on Dash because it's like again and again and again. It's just like constantly being punched on the nose. It's just like, oh my God, like Dash going for the kill, it's going for the 1-2. It's just like Rory McDonald and you're out, you know, with the Dash.
Keep in mind, you're close to it. Yeah. I mean, we're making splashes in all these different places. And I think I actually talked about this before on this show. Like, this is what's going to happen. It's going to blow up. There's going to be a blow up in this community, and then in this community, and then in this community. NREL got us the science and government community. Rory got us an MMA community. You know, what else
ASU got us the education community.
Education community, right? And STEM at the bit to bite, right?
Cannabis.
Yeah. All 36 got us the cannabis industry.
The whole cannabis industry, right? Now, I mean, and it's all just boom, boom. Now you can see how these splashes are going to create dedicated followers in each of those spaces, you know, and there's going to be leaders that rise up from within those, like Ben Swan in the media, right? Media community, boom. Everybody's like, what's going on with Ben Swan? Oh, he left CBS, whatever channel it was, to join Dash. What the hell's going on? Like, so that's what's happening. Like, people are vacating the fiat world, and those people are catching the eyes of their friends who are just completely disconnected from cryptocurrency altogether, and going like, what happened to so and so? Oh, he got into this thing. I don't know, Dash, crypto. He's all doing that.
That's the thing about the hater.
All these different communities.
is obviously understand not everyone needs to agree. Not everyone needs to have a full picture of the facts either. But there's just something weird about you just start seeing Dash is finally starting to hit. It's just like, take a fight metaphor, right? Someone's like, I get a little jab, graze you with a jab, trying to try to take down, whatever. Don't take you seriously. But then, wham, get a good hit in. Okay, then we got another good hit in. Eventually, start having to respect those hits and understand that you're dealing with a dangerous opponent.
It's changing from that to that. It's changing.
Yeah, that
Dash feels
that first leg kick.
That's what's happening.
Yeah, that first time, it's like, oh, that stung a little bit. Oh, that stung more. Oh, you should have to
dash. Ooh.
You should have to.
That's a big D.
It's really off the rails here, but I'm just like Rory McDonald, one of the top MMA fighters in the world, right? He is the Bellator welterweight champion, and he beat easily the current UFC welterweight champion, which I know you can't do MMA math as much as Mark would like to do the math. You can't always do that, but still one of the very top. Right? One of the very top. Then you get Ben Swan, one of the very top media people in the world coming in. Then you get Dash's new business solutions director, Bradley Zastro from American Express. Again, one of the top payment
supporters in media too. Like Max Kaiser was backing Dash for a while, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the old supporters.
But let me just stay on the like big heavy hitter thing, and then like the cannabis industry. Going for Dash. Like when these big things start coming in, chasing after that big D, right? You start getting, eventually you start to look at other projects that are either priced similarly or were once viewed as competitors or whatever you want to call it. And you have to start realizing they're not in the same league. And
Dash is the juggernaut of the crypto world.
Yeah. And this is not like, there's no way to sound like I'm not talking all this smack. Like I'm not trying to insult other projects, but like, where has your project reeled in these big names?
Yeah. Who are you? I don't know who you are.
Hey, Potcoin got who's that guy?
Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman. Yeah.
Haters sometimes rightfully dismiss Dash doing the same as like a fluke. Oh yeah, it just happened to be like a Dennis Rodman with a Potcoin or Dogecoin with their car when the Dash Racer came around. But then it's just like
you had a race car.
Yeah, you start getting. It's like everyone had their one thing, but then Dash has that and that and that and that, and they're piling up and they're getting bigger and bigger. And then at some point, you got to be like, this is about to go huge, right? This is about to go really big. Yeah. This is about to be something.
No, that's what I told my friends at the beginning of 2018 when I was like, look, please acquire as much Dash as you can because the news that's coming out, like I can't find anything comparable across the board on all these other currencies, even though all these other tokens, even though many of them are extremely interesting to me.
Yes, but here's the other thing though. I don't ever tell people to buy Dash, and I know some people have different opinions on that.
Yeah.
But it's not just you shouldn't tell them. If I want to just tell them that. But the thing is, I don't want fair weather Dash friends. I don't want people who are in it because they trust me and they want to take my advice and get rich off of it or whatever.
Right, yeah. Believe me, these guys are vetted.
Yeah, but not just that. I want people. They should be led to Dash. But like, if they ask what's so great about Dash or what's up, I'll tell them.
Should be on the merits of the project.
That's happening. And if they don't act on that on their own now that they have, if they don't say, hey, where can I buy some, or hey, how can I start using, if they don't do that, they didn't understand, right?
Well,
if they didn't
understand,
they shouldn't be in yet.
Maybe we should spend 20 minutes just hating on Dash, as a counter argument. Just see what's going on.
It's like crypto gladiator stuff. I know I've used that analogy before.
Yeah, but if you're going to be real,
are you not entertained? No, dude. Like this is like crypto gladiator. Like I'm going to take it a step further. Like I'm in the ring, I'm ripping Dash, and like all you're going to see is like massive smoke. It's like I don't know if anyone's seen the new Star Wars. Anyone seen the end and seen the Star Wars? With Skywalker. I don't want to ruin it for you.
Which one?
Right now, it's just like smoke, and then all you're going to see emerge. Like everyone's on the floor, and then you just see me in my D, and the music's coming. It's not going to be John Williams. No.
Okay.
Not the strings. It's going to be like
that time.
Dun, 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 dun,
I like the
dun,
idea,
dun,
and I love the visual.
Yeah, man.
It sounds like the visual of me coming out of the shower.
Mate, this is the advert. This is the advert.
Yeah, Okay,
I'm going to
but
be in
that's
the
not-
ring.
We're not there
And
yet.
there's going to be
you
the
know?
other. Wait. I'm going to be in the ring, and there's going to be all the other coins there. I'm going to have my big D on, like as big as Chuck's, and then like there's going to be a massive fight pile up, and then smoke's going to be there, and then I'm going to come out victorious. Everyone's going to be like, "What?" And then the music's going to hit. It's going to be like, "Dun dun dun dun, Dash, saver of the universe, dun, dun. It can do anything." Yeah, and it's going to be biblical, mate, and we're going to change the world, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh my god, Dash is here to save us," and all there's going to be all the girls in the crowd, and we've got to be careful now. But like, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be euphoric, hysteria. It's going to be amazing. And it's going to be D's everywhere. It's going to be a good night.
Okay, let's
I'm just concerned about that whole scene where 6 months later it becomes a BitConnect joke video, you know?
No.
Oh no.
Hey, one other thing. What's up? What are we doing with the all these? We talked about all these industries. There's something big that we're doing in the healthcare industry. Chuck, do you know any more about that? Ryan's talked about it.
I tried to track down some info on it, but I haven't. I mean, like just on the net, like looking at the YouTube videos and such. Has the Bitcoin conference posted videos from the talks yet? I couldn't find anything there. I don't know if they're coming yet or what. I feel like they edit them and then so I want to see that announcement.
The party videos.
I'm not interested in those. I'm married. But yeah, no, I'm trying to track. I don't know much of anything. I haven't been involved in it, so
I think it may be through Arizona. I think it may be through the universities. I don't know. It's something in the healthcare industry.
Yeah, I thought that was also through BlockCypher.
Patientory. Was that it?
Patientory, yeah, with BlockCypher, right?
Yeah.
And what does it do? What is it?
Patientory, I looked it up one time. It's an interesting project that's it's about, I think, managing patient rights and giving them access and control over their information. Let me see if I can what I can find on it. It might be a reminder. I haven't looked at it. No. Making healthcare secure is their tagline.
Okay, it may tie into our identity system or something. Who knows?
Yeah, securely store and manage health information in real time. So manage access to your data, communicate to care teams, access data on your phone, that sort of thing. That's what their homepage looks like, and they've got a video and such there. But yeah, they've been around. They've been in the industry for a while, and they're trying to solve certain problems. And I believe they have a market of customers, enterprise level customers, with whom they basically implement these management systems. And I think it's under here in America, we have these things called HIPAA laws or HIPAA rules, which is all about like how, it's about protecting patient information, keeping it private. Like I think we have more privacy laws in healthcare than any other industry, as far as I know.
Might have something to do with the fax machine. Think about it, right? Because they're more private than like emails and stuff like that.
Yeah,
exactly. Yep, I think that's part of it. So this would be like one of these avenues that would help all of the doctors in America upgrade their systems, because now they have a secure system where they know they have levels of control over everything. They know who access what when, and it's up to the patients. Like you can turn it or enable it in such a way that the end users, the patients, actually give the access by way of blockchain transmissions, as I understand it. So really interesting and very valuable project. I think there's going to be a number of organizations in this industry coming up in the future. But also as an alternative to, speaking of healthcare, I'm seeing a lot about like wellness coins and things like that, things that are servicing the end user human needs of health and wellness. I don't know if you guys heard about the Denta coin. I don't know where that's going. I think they have too many coins. They like release 200 billion tokens and hold another 7.8 trillion, just for the record, so you guys know. And that's just I don't know why you need 8 billion tokens.
This is why you need crypto charity fights.
8 trillion.
So like that's what I want to see. We're going to get to the stage where it's going to be like a reality show of just personalities, because it's getting really tribal. So we can have like crypto charity boxing fights, and we can have Fluffy Pony from Monero, and then we can have Rory McDonald. Who would you have?
Sweep the legs. Don't let them fall on you.
they tried to do a bounty, but they couldn't raise enough money for anyone else. So like Fluffy had to step in. Like, oh, it's not me, it's their governance system, right? That's what I'm saying. Don't hate, don't shoot the messenger. Right? But hey, watch the presentation. Like, you know, do the email, help them out. They've got bounties. They'll help you out.
All right, let's wrap up.
Yeah, otherwise I'm going to get triggered by Fluffy and start going off on one. But we should do that though. Charity, they should do that. If they did that at a conference, like crypto charity fights, imagine the money that would get. Like, I mean, I don't know who from Dash would step in. Like, if it was Fluffy, I think I'd have to
already do that.
I'll put a lot of lobby stuff in. But can you imagine the audience it would get? That would be like pay-per-view stuff. That would be immense. And you could do it for charity. I'm like, this is all for charity. Like,
maybe so. Yeah.
You'd raise loads.
Do you think Fluffy Pony would donate to the Monero fund?
God. Well, let's not lie.
If they need the money, hold on. Let me do a mic drop on that one. If he did donate, there'd be no way of verifying it on the blockchain.
Yeah,
he could just send it to his wine fund, and then you just wouldn't know any better.
I guess that's the nice thing about a privacy token. You can just say you did stuff, and you don't have to back it up.
But that's a good thing is with Dash, get yourself a man can do both. Right, you can be public, you can be private. What is that? There was some stupid meme coming around about he protect, he attack, he whatever. That's probably last week's meme.
Yeah. Well, whoever goes out to represent Dash, as long as to the Queen remix of Dash, then I'm all for it. I think it's great. I think that should be the new commercial. I think we should do like amateur, like really dank meme style like adverts. Like the skip adverts for YouTube, whether like we could all just dress up in like the crypto things and we could get that music and then it would just be hilarious and we can make it go viral.
We need to get something like a Mardi Gras thing going on. Mardi Gras. And just have all kinds of stuff going on in the streets. Who knows? There's a lot of the thing is people have gotten so enthusiastic about a lot of other projects because that's one of the main things you can do is get enthusiastic about them, right? And so eventually Dash is going to pull ahead to such a degree when you have no choice but to be enthusiastic about it or be enthusiastically hating. Now, just like I sort of see here's my dark side, right? Just like when there's a market collapse, I don't feel fulfilled until I start to see some of those noobs go down. Not because I wish ill on anyone. Of course not. No one should. It's when you see people getting wrecked who are comical in it. And for example, you have someone who put out like a second mortgage on their home to buy Bitcoin at 20,000 and like 2 weeks later is getting divorced because the price went down and they couldn't hold on a couple more months. Like that sort of thing that just like when that kind of element washes out, that's like I start to feel good about the markets, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the sign that you need in a society.
Yeah, and so I take up sort of perverse pleasure at just speaking Queen. Another one bites the dust.
I don't know.
Another one goes down.
I don't know. I think me and Brian are looking at each other. I think you're going to be one of those like bitter old men in a park that's just sitting on the bench with a bag of sweets, and the kid comes on. Do you want a sweetie? And you've got like a rolled up newspaper. Like, don't take sweets from strangers. That's what you're like. You get too much pleasure out of this.
No, it's a good time. And then same thing with trolls and haters is I love seeing trolls and haters try to troll and hate on like good things. Like obviously there's stuff that you can just pick on anything for, but when it's like when there's nothing and they still feel compelled to try, it's just like it fuels me, right? So if we're like, for example, when Fluffy Pony gets into an argument with Mark, this is why he's coming up so much in this this discussion, by the way, because Mark's been having a little bit of a war of words on Twitter, and he just says, well, Dash wasn't on Katy Perry's nails. And it's like, that was literally an argument that the lead developer of one of the more technical and complex projects in the space was giving is you're not on Katy Perry's. Like, I can't even keep a straight face. It's so bizarre. And so when you have like haters like that, and then when you have Ben Swan fans who like say like, hey, have you watched this video? Like, no, he's a Dash shill. Screw that guy. He's sold out. Like, they're just they're such Dash hater. Their hearts are broken because their idol is now. It makes me so happy because, yeah, it means we're getting someplace. It's not that they don't have to be haters. They can be nice. They can be happy. They can be on the hype train like Mark all the time. But
you know what? If everybody was happy, I would be concerned. Like if everybody was like, "Oh yeah, Dash is cool," I would be deeply concerned.
Yes,
honestly.
Yeah,
nothing.
Katy Perry's already got like the double D's, so she's covered.
She doesn't need any more D's, right?
Wow, that sounds more lit than the after party at the North American Bitcoin conference.
Oh gosh, there we go again.
Oh my god, who went there?
Consider this: you can't make a delicious decentralized cryptocurrency omelet without breaking a few eggs. Think about it.
Do the math.
Is that a good place to wrap up on?
Yes.
Oh wow.
I'll keep my mouth shut then.
Unless you want to wrap up.
No. Wrap us up.
It's good advice anyway, either way. Right? So right. Episode 37 over and done with. And wow. Thank you to our special guest, Chuck Superman Williams. Excellent as always. On form, top form tonight. Great stuff. Yes. So are we going to do the after party, lads? As usual?
Yeah.
As always. Okay. So Discord, dashchat.org. 10 people, first come, first served. You get to talk to us, ask us questions, all that malarkey. Great stuff. If you've enjoyed this video, if it's your first time here, please like, share, and subscribe. If you've not been to Dash Force News yet, what you're playing at, dashforcenews.com, the #1 source for Dash News online. Get informed. Thank you for watching, and we'll be here next Friday. Same Dash time, same Dash channel. And most importantly of all, have a great weekend and stay dashy.
Stay dashy.